You want to dive into the stories and myths behind Professor Scienza's new series, but Italian isn't your thing. No problem. You find all the conversation translated in English in the new Mama Jumbo Shrimp book, an Italian wine pilgrimage with Professor Attilio Scienza. Now available in English on Amazon.
Welcome to this special Clubhouse session of the Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as members of the Italian wine community engage in fascinating conversations about contemporary wine topics. If you enjoyed the show, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. And remember to subscribe and rate the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your pods.
Hi everyone, this is Beatrice welcoming you to the Italian Wine Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner, one of the top-ranked shows on Italian Wine Podcast. Here, our ambassadors get the mic to interview their favorite producers with total freedom. And if you miss it live, no worries, it's all recorded and dropped later on the Italian Wine Podcast. Our guest host today is Pablo Fernandez. Brazilian engineer turned sommelier, Pablo is an Italian wine ambassador who shares his passion for Italian wine and culture in Brazil through beboitalia.com. Today, he's gonna interview Nadia Curto. So Pablo, Nadia, how you doing, guys?
All good here. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. And Nadia, thank you very much for accepting the invitation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to you. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Pablo. Everything is fine. We can go.
Perfect. So, Pablo, are you ready for our ritual question?
Yes, please.
How did you meet Nadia?
Well, I first heard about Nadia from a mutual friend, Cynthia Malacarne, who insisted that I had to check her wines. So during Vinitaly this year, I went to meet her at Raw Wine. And she actually was in one of the Wine to Digital Vinitaly International Masterclasses, the one that was blind tasting between Nebbiolo versus a Pinot Noir from Burgundy. Unfortunately, I missed that one, but I tried out the wines of Nadia. I loved it. And then I asked her if I could visit her because I was going to Barolo area after Vinitaly. So I went there and I really loved the wines, the winery. Nadia is a special person, so nice. And really, I want to bring this voice forward because it's one of the most authentic of La Morra's new generation.
Perfect. It sounds like a really nice plan to me, so it's time for me to mute myself. Now, I'm turning over the floor to you, Pablo. Have a nice interview, guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, Nadia, thanks a lot for being here to this interview. And my first question, it's actually an elevator pitch. And for someone hearing about you for the first time, Nadia, paint the picture for us. Where exactly is the Curto estate? How much land do you farm in Arborina? And what comes out of those 4 hectares each year?
Our estate is in Piemonte, northwest Italy. We are not so far from France. We are at 2 hours from the border, so not so far. And I live in Langhe area, especially in the area of Barolo production. Our Nebbiolo give Barolo. Our hill, the name is Arborina, is in La Morra town. And Arborina in total is around 12 hectares, and we own 3 hectares. Outside we have 1 hectare, but is with Dolcetto and Barbera. On Arborina Hill, we have almost the totally part planted in with Nebbiolo. We have the house at the feet of Arborina, so the cellar is really at the feet of Arborina. So for us, it's like a nest.
Right. Actually, it is. It's so beautiful, and it really looks like it's home. It's home. It's our house, home. And actually, you could say that the vineyards are also like that. Okay, so the second question, which is a family bridge between your grandfather, your father, and you. The oldest vines on the east side were planted by your grandfather around a century ago. And your father, Marco, which is still working in the fields at almost 90, right? Once resisted bottling under the family name and sold the grapes in bulk. You've said your earliest memory of wine is your father letting you taste the must from his fingers. and your grandmother singing all day at harvest, that picking grapes was a festa, never a job. Looking back, when did that family story become yours to carry?
This history is a special history because in the past the idea was of a poor generation, but in reality, in my mind, I remind the past with joyful. Because my grandmother, when was speaking or was working in the field, she sing every moment. She was singing Claudio Villa. She was singing other old song, and for me was so nice. Her this voice was something delicate and fantastic. And also my parents was very tired. They do a lot of job by hand. They work with the ox, so very old and strong style of job. But when we were at the table, sometime they stop eating and dance around the table. So for me, this moment was so special, so fantastic that I put this kind of job in a positive way. And in my mind, I saw this job like something very human and very special. Also, if in the reality was a strong and hard job.
Oh yeah, and my personal testify about being with you in the winery, you can really feel that positivity, that's your place, that you belong, and this is happiness for you. This is the happy place to be, and you really can say that. Yes. So next question, your winemaking identity. In 2007, you went to learn from your uncle, the legendary Elio Altare, the man who, in his words, adapted the methods used in France and broke with the old Barolo. It's one of the Barolo boys, actually, is the Barolo boy. But you never dropped your father's tradition in some way. So instead of picking a side, you kept both. So what is the Nadia Curto signature that came out of combining your father's tradition and your uncle's revolution?
At first, I have to say that I don't work with enologists or consultant. I work with my personal experience that come from the history of my father and from my uncle. When you work with your experience in an empiric way, obviously you need time. You doesn't have the answer immediately. You have to try, you have to test, you have to wait, and after you can think and you can stabilize your own method. But for do that, you need a lot of time because the results arrive after many years. So when I decided to follow my uncle, I was a little bit able to produce wine with my father's style. And so I decided don't change completely, but continue work with my father's style, and aside I start work following my uncle's style. And in my idea, I thought when I will be higher, older, I will understand which style I prefer and I will follow this style. But in reality, this decision doesn't happen because I like both the wines. And in plus, it's not possible choose about Barolo when is the moment for decide if I prefer one Barolo or another, because it's not an action that is punctual, but is something that we have to follow during the time, because when I have to decide if I prefer Barolo today or after 5 years or after 10 years. So at the moment I'm going on with both the style, but from my personal side, I decide to work in a way that is really pure way. I work without any chemical. I don't use any chemical in the field. I don't use any chemical in the cellar. The fermentation is spontaneous, and this is really my main purpose, because in my opinion, following a way of vinification or another way, if you use good grape, is not a problem, because the good material, the good fruit can give good wine. Also, if you follow the short maturation, also if you follow the long maturation, because the most important thing is start from a good job in the field. After, the cellar is a consequence of this good fruit that come from the field. And the fruit that doesn't see chemical is really better, because the taste is not plastified from the chemical. It's a really generous taste that give also particular energy when you drink. And so, in my opinion, my most important evolution is in this direction. I'm not particular because I use a big bottle or a small barrique. I'm particular because I don't use anything that is not grape.
Right. Yeah, you can really feel the wines that are really alive, and really there's a feel in the wine that you don't feel chemicals at all. It's like it's something that is, you can taste the vineyard there actually, which is a different sensation usually when you get different wines. And yes, definitely that's a thing about your both Barolo. And I want to make a hook with organic and natural wine, because when we were talking back in the winery last April, you said that your father, that was born in 36, started using chemicals because at first they seemed beneficial, but over time that positive thing became a poison. And today, as you said, you ferment with wild yeast, and your Barolo can carry as little as 8 milligrams of sulfites against a legal limit of 120. But I want to ask you, where is the line for you between letting nature lead and keeping control of your wine?
In my opinion, the nature is better than us. When something grows spontaneously under good sun and born in a good soil, rich, alive, with a lot of elements, with the bees that eat the grape, with an harmony in the environment. In my opinion, this kind of situation is better of everything. Doesn't exist the rest, because when the human modifies something, they change the balance. For example, if you use some nutrition to the soil, usually you add some salt, and the salt give this hydration of the vine. So you can give some good nutrition from my side, but from the other side, you make some bad and strange balance for the trees. And so for me, less is more. Less is better. When you don't touch the nature, make something that is better, and you can work with more precious material.
Totally agree with you, especially after tasting your wines. You can really check this philosophy. And now I want to talk about the two Barolo, La Folla versus Arborina, and the chocolate machine, which is a very nice story. And here's what fascinates me. La Folla and Arborina are from the same grape, from the same hill, but they are two totally different wines. La Folla, as we speak in the last question, 2 questions before, is your father's way. Traditional Barolo, long maceration, big old casks, and Arborina is Barolo boys / your uncles. Short maceration in that horizontal fermented helio adapted from a chocolate mixing machine. The one other producers laughed at, calling it a washing machine, as you told the story back in the winery last April. So walk us through how the same Nebbiolo becomes two such different wines, not just same Nebbiolo, two Barolo, and why you keep making both.
Sincerely, I like both this way of working. In a classical way, we wait that the fermentation arrive, and we move the cup just with a little tool. and we pump over the most for maintain wet the cup. And this extraction is very soft, very elegant. We wait also 3 weeks before that the sugar go to zero, and after we rack the wine, and we have a wine that is almost done. When I work with in the modern way, I use this machine that is called roto fermenter, and in effect, many people was laughing, calling washing machine or other name, because with this machine we have a half a pail inside that move the most in continuous. But personally, I like this method because when you use grape that have a lot of taste, are natural, moving this mass of skin give at the wine a taste very intense, and in particular this movement make like an acceleration of the process of extraction. So we doesn't have to wait 3 weeks for have a good extraction. After 1 week, 10 days, we can rack the wine and really have a juice very intense, very rich of flavor and substances. Some people say also, you use this machine for go faster, but it's not a question for go faster or not, because during the harvest time we are here and we work in the cellar. We don't have to go to vacation or some other part. It's not a question to be faster. The question is that with the movement we have an extraction deeper. And this extraction happens when the alcohol is not present, so the taste, the fruity notes are more intense. In plus, with this movement, we have also a color that is more intense, and Nebbiolo doesn't have a lot of color. So with these nuances a little bit darker, also the appeal is better. And when we rack the wine, the fermentation usually is not finished, because usually after 1 week, 10 days, we have some sugar residual. We rack the wine and the fermentation finish in the other tank without the skins. In this way, we maintain, we have really a wine that is very intense, elegant, and complex. Personally, I like both the style. From one side, the long maturation give more austerity. The short maturation give more richness and fat character, and the intensity is deeper.
La Folla is beautiful, but my favorite is Arborina. Arborina is something else, in my opinion. But it's all our wines are great, but Arborina stands out definitely. My next question is regarding terroir and your philosophy. Your south-facing parcel sits on Arenaria di Diano, which is a sand soil that doesn't belong to La Morra originally, and gives Arborina that fairs, almost salty edge, while the rest is the gray marl. And above the vines, you deliberately keep a patch of woodland as a green lung. You put it simply, we are not owners of the land, we are just in passing through. How does that idea actually change what you do in the vineyard day to day, as being just a temporary owner of the land? You are just something that is, you pass and the land will stay.
Really, I like this hill with these two different kind of soil, because it's something very, very fascinating. This Arenaria di Diano come from an area quite far, but in the past, in this area, we had the sea, a really deep sea, because if you go in the Museum of Alba, you can find a skeleton of a whale, a big fossil of a whale. So if the whale was living in this area, you can imagine how deep was the water. And around 6 million years ago, the part of Monforte, of Serralunga, was emerging from the sea. And from this area, some arenaria, some deposit, go down in the sea, and the current bring this soil in our area. The area of La Morra emerged from the sea later. We speak 2 million years ago. And when the hill of Arborina emerged, at the top bring this soil that is completely sandy. The roots of the tree, when are in a sandy soil, go very deep. When we work on arenaria soil, the roots are looking for the water and so go in vertical direction very deep in the soil. And this bring in the wine a character very mineral, darker, with earthy notes. When we work at the opposite on the Marne, we have a soil that is like a floor. And on this floor run the water and also the roots. And the roots go in horizontal way. So the character is more delicate. The character is more floral, is more elegant. And the wine change really notes. In plus, I work picking the east exposure separately from the south exposure. So I use the south exposure for make the cru Arborina, and the east exposure that have the sun principally during the morning and after lesser, I use this part for produce La Foia. In this way, I have La Foia that is more elegant and really more springtime Barolo. From the other side, I have Arborina that is really a dark and autumnal Barolo. And this is very challenging for me. I have these two characters so different. Yes, for the vinification, but also for the soil.
It's definitely opposites. So I cannot think how is it challenging to conciliate those two different wines in the winery at the same time when you are producing them. So it has to have a feeling of what you really want and the interpretation of what you have there that is makes it beautiful, actually. So now I want to talk about your father. We have two generations working in the winery, which is your father is almost 90 and is still out in the fields beside you, which made me think, wow, it's really wow moment when you told me that. And what's the division of labor and the occasional argument between the generation that built this and the one that is carrying it forward?
The rapport with the father is not easy. In particular, considering this step of age. My father born without technology, and me, I born with the telephone, with the PC. Also, if I'm not so technological, now the young generation is another generation. But in any case, also if we fight sometime, we have the same purpose, the same target. Both we love our job, we love our winery, and we arrive at the same result from different way. Obviously, now my father is really old because 90 years is an age that is not easy. Today, he really can't do everything. But sometime that if my father is in good shape and go in the vineyard, I'm really happy because this is something that relaxes the mind. And the nature helps us to feel better, because when we go in the nature, we really can take the energies that are that come from the trees, from the leaves, from the sun, from the animal, and this energy is a positive energy. If you are stressed, this is a good therapy. And so today my father goes in the vineyard, and for sure when he goes, he finds something that is not good, some leaves that is too much, some herb that have to be cut. But in any case, we are in synchrony in the global purpose.
Yes, never easy, right? Never easy family, especially if you have them at work. Yeah, but still, it's a beautiful job that both of you are doing. Now I want to talk about the tasting that we have at Vinitaly this year, which was led by Master of Wine Isabelle Legeron. She put you on Team Nebbiolo, blind against a Burgundy producer. So the theme of the masterclass was Pinot Noir versus Nebbiolo. And you've told the story of a tasting where half the room swore your Langhe Nebbiolo was Pinot Noir, which is great. That fits your whole philosophy of bevibilità, which is drinkability. Wines that invite you to drink even a Barolo that you at first think that could be difficult. How did that blind challenge go, in your opinion, in your feeling? And what does a wine that drinks well really mean to you in tannin and texture?
When I was in this blind tasting, really, I was really surprised because the first wine that was released was my Nebbiolo, and really a lot of people go in confusion and told that it was Pinot Noir. I think that the problem was not that this Nebbiolo was not a Nebbiolo. The problem is that the modern Nebbiolo probably are the majority are produced with sulfite. That the sulfite cover a little bit the fruitness, the delicatessen of the fruitness of Nebbiolo, and people doesn't recognize it when it's pure. When the tasting go on and we taste some Nebbiolo, some Pinot Noir, some Barolo, etc., at the end people was more able to understand which was Nebbiolo, which was Pinot Noir. But at the beginning, people doesn't understand, in my opinion, because was not used to taste a Nebbiolo so fruity, so elegant. For me, it's very important have a wine that have an elegant expression and an elegant texture. So sometimes Nebbiolo can be confused because it's too much floral and too much elegant if we have to compare to the other.
Right. Now I want to talk about Giallo Ginestra, which is the Women's Solidarity project that you have. And also it's your first white, and it's a macerated Cortese. But also it's really a story of friendship. When I was there in your winery, you were describing it as a sodalizio al femminile. I don't know if I say it is right in Italian, but born with your friends Carla and Elisa to offer a hand to someone in difficulty. The name comes from Leopardis ginestra, which is a flower that blooms on scorched ground. Tell us how that project was born and who it set out to help.
In 23, arrived in my house a friend that was in a moment very sad, was passing a moment of difficulties in the family. And I asked if she can come with me in the vineyard because it was springtime and the flower was blossoming and it was a really good moment. The weather was good, was with the sun not so hot, and so it was very nice. And she came with me. And almost every day she was crying, but also me. We passed some moment really of thinking about the life, thinking about ourselves, the future, the past, the love, everything. And this girl, Carla, told me, Nadia, we have to do something for the women because when there is some problem, the women are in harder difficulties. So we decided to produce a white wine, but in reality, I'm not able to produce white wine. So we decided to produce an orange wine. So a white wine made like a red wine. And this wine really became something strange. I love this wine. It's really particular, very fruity, but also now the taste after some years became like a green tea, chamomile, something really delicate but strong, with a strong tannin. And really, we do something very, very particular and very enjoyable. And after a part of the money that we obtained, we give this part at a house that help the women that are in difficulties. At the beginning, they arrive in a common part, but after, when these women are found a job, and obviously this association helps the women for find a job, they can rent an apartment, and paying a rent, they support also the first floor that is the first place of accueil. And so we started this project, and we are so happy because we found another part of the wine. We found also a part that can be shared with the other, and the wine is not only pleasure, but is also something that can make a nutrition of a good soul.
That's a beautiful story, and also beautiful wine. And now to wrap our interview, telling something about you or about the place you live that nobody ever asked. Something we would never find online.
This is a particular question, because really I'm not sure what I can say, but
anything. It's really like very open. Cannot be a wine, about Nadia, about Arborina, some curiosity.
An hope, una speranza. I hope that my family, I have a son that is 17 years old, and I have a daughter 14 years old. I hope that they both can follow the winery and to be the new generation. My son at the moment is studying enological. I'm a little bit scared because I didn't study enological school. I make the wine with another method that is far from the technician, from the scientist method. But in any way, born with both the culture will be something positive, I hope. And so I'm happy that my son is studying wine, and my daughter she's studying the foreign languages, and this is very important. Also now, for example, I'm very sad that my English is not so good, because I can understand that people can be tired after all this interview with bad English. But anyway, this is my level. And
your English is great. Your English is great, Nadia. Don't
worry. My daughter is studying foreign languages, and I hope in the future with this new generation to be increase and or simply go on with this job. So it's not something that is not a secret, but is a recent story. So you don't find on internet or anywhere, because it's a story that have to start.
I just have one thing to say, and I think you don't have to worry. La mela non cade lontano dall'albero, right? So I don't think you don't need to be that too worried about that. That's it.
No.
Okay, just a final remark. Nadia, grazie mille. Thank you for the time, for the wines, and for a family story that is still being written, which is definitely the next generation will be there. From your grandfather's vine to your own Arborina, and for the future from your children. And to everyone listening, look for La Folla or an Arborina. Pour a glass and taste what we have been talking about. The same hill, two souls, no compromise. And salute.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really a big pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pablo and Nadia. That was a wonderful interview. Your energy together was amazing. For those who are interested to participate, just send us a DM through our Instagram or mail our Italian Wine Podcast producers at info@italianwinepodcast.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. Thank you so much again, Nadia and Pablo. That was really amazing. And this is a wrap from Italian Wine Podcast. Ciao, ciao!
Ciao, grazie mille.
Ciao, ragazzi!
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through italianwinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.